So I'm going to invite you to lay all the way down for a second. And by all the way down, I mean torso down and feet on the earth. And just give your eyes permission to close here. Yeah. And as they close, begin to just notice the ebb and flow of your breath. Your hands can be light by the sides, or if they'd like to be on the belly, just notice. And if it feels better, you can allow the knees to fall towards one another. So as you come in to this moment, welcome yourself here. Maybe you smile at the fact that you got yourself here. Begin to notice the feeling of your body on the earth. The feet, the hips, the spine, the shoulders. Notice the back of the skull. And then without needing to force or change or manipulate, bring awareness to your breath, to the ebb and flow of the in and the out. Receive the inhale and experience the exhale. Just notice where the breath moves into the body when you're not forcing it, when you're allowing it to be whatever it is. Where do you feel that rise and that fall? And as you welcome this body that you brought with you today, we'll take a moment to set an intention. And I invite you to consider this intention to let your heart be filled. You might even repeat to yourself, I allow my heart to be filled. Or I pour gratitude into my heart. Whatever words come to you, we'll set that intention with a big inhale. Your big inhale, fill up. Open mouth, sigh it out. And then from here, gently separate the knees if they were falling towards one another. Invite them to be about hip distance. And you might slowly just guide the heels in towards your hips. This is where you're going to want your blanket or pillows handy. And what we're going to do is find what's known as a supported bridge, meaning we're going to place that pillow or blanket underneath the tailbone, that place where you often have a label on your jeans. Just there. So you're going to lift the hips gently enough, and it might take a little bit of effort to do this, but lift the hips gently enough that when you place them down, the tailbone is supported and the hips are ever so slightly, or more than slightly, higher than the heart. Right? There's no specific place you have to be here, but we're supporting the tailbone and the hips. And then notice the hands and just play with where they want to be here. And you can kind of adjust. If you have a big pillow, you might feel a lot of support, and just let that be okay. This verges on the restorative, and so we're gonna take it. So notice if the hands wanna be by the sides, if they wanna be placed on the belly, if they wanna be up behind you. Just take a moment to wiggle this way or that, and allow yourself to settle in. as you find that just right place, this shape isn't so much about an edge of discomfort and getting comfortable there, but it's about allowing gravity to support us and allow for a flow of energy. So as that just right spot finds you, greet it with an inhale and experience the exhale. And begin to bring your awareness to the feet. Notice the feet on the ground. And imagine that on your inhale, you're drawing energy from the earth up into the feet, into the legs, towards the knees. And then on the exhale, that energy is pouring from the knees to the hips, to the belly, and to the heart. Allow the inhale to draw the energy up. And then send that exhale towards the heart. Just find a few more moments like that, a few more rounds of breath, drawing the energy up. And then sending it towards the hips and the belly and the heart. And even if you don't feel like the breath reaches the heart, just imagine that it's filling you up into the hips and the belly, and it's spreading. It can't help but spread towards the heart. As if you're pouring this energy, this breath, this life force into you. And on your next round of breath, allow your awareness to settle in your belly. The low belly, the mid belly. And on your inhale, allow that to fill, to expand with something that fills you up, something that lights you up. It could be a color, a place, a smell, a cuddle with a dog. Allow that to fill you in the belly. And on the exhale, send that goodness to the heart. You might even offer it a color. Maybe it's a golden light that fills the belly on that inhale. And then send that golden light towards the heart. And with each new round of breath, allow yourself to notice, to name, to feel perhaps a new thing, a different thing that fills you or that you're grateful for. Each new inhale, that moment of expansion, of noticing what it is that fills us. And each exhale being poured into the heart. And if you'd rather linger with the same thing to steep in that, give yourself permission to stay there. But notice how the heart begins to feel like it's full. Like the space around the heart keeps expanding, almost overflowing with what fills you. And you can allow your awareness of the breath to melt away and simply observe here the heart and this feeling of fullness. Maybe you notice the vibration, the beat of your heart. What does it feel like to be filled up? Notice that. And then gently place your right hand on your belly and your left on your heart. And give yourself gratitude for pouring into you. Find an inhale here. Let it go. You can release the hands and really slowly lift the hips gently. Remove the blanket or pillow. Allow the hips to lower down and pause. Notice how you feel. You might take a moment to hug the knees in, just a nice counter stretch. Maybe wiggle side to side. And then gently guide yourself over into a fetal pose on your favorite side. Cradle yourself here. Feel this sensation of being filled up. And as you're ready to bring that with you into your day, slowly guide yourself up to a comfortable, easy seat. And you can allow the eyes to flutter open. And as you come back together, just pause for a moment and notice what it is that found you. What was it that you allowed to fill you up? To grab some things. And as you're noticing that, oh, I'm so glad, Mary Beth. Make sure to come back and watch the last few minutes because you never know, I'm going to do the giveaway prize. So take a moment and jot down either for yourself or in the comments, what came up for you? What did you notice that filled you and how did it feel? Because there's this really intentional aspect of noticing how it felt rather than just thinking about it. How did that feel? I'd love to know. You were filled with breath that gave you energy. It was somewhat invigorating, but also relaxing. Yeah, Karen, thank you for sharing that. Right? And so that becomes a reminder, right? If you think about where hope and possibility live, they live in a place of ease, of peace, and they're energizing, right? They move us forward, not in a grippy way, not in a I must do this because I have to be fixed way, but in that place of ease and perhaps even contentment. Love them where they are, love them anyway, a beautiful glow. Yeah, Perry, thank you. Oh, I'm so grateful for all of you giving yourself permission to play with these explorations. And thank you, Joe. Yes, it is. Oh, you feel relaxation. Thank you, Christine. So your invitation for today is to really steep in this feeling of being filled up. And I'm going to challenge you. Maybe you take that supported bridge again, or maybe you linger with this feeling and see if if you can come up with 5, 8, 10 things that fill you. And just allow your body almost to name them, right? As you start to be in that energy, you'll notice things come up that you'll notice, that you'll notice. There are my fabulous words, right? And then notice how that feels in your body, the collection of that which fills you, that you're pouring in, right? How much can you let yourself receive that? And here's why the receiving and the noticing how it's feels so important is so important, because we are sometimes really good at noticing what we're grateful for, but we're not always good at really absorbing it. Do you remember in like science in 5th grade, we did experiments with white carnations and you put them in water and food coloring, and then the carnation would turn a different color, right? It's that absorbing. That's what we're looking for. So we're pouring into the heart and then giving ourselves permission to absorb, because that's where we then start to create ripples. Feeling the energy flow in the body is amazing. Yes, I'm so glad. So, rooted. All right. Yeah. So this becomes your exploration for today, to notice what else can you allow yourself to be filled with, and how does that feel? So the prize for yesterday's exploration is this deck of oracle cards by Sarah Bamford Seidelman. How good are you willing to let it get? Because we were considering this question of, well, what are we ready to open to? And I love using cards. So I'm going to pick a name for that in a second, but I want to share with you the giveaway for, I just shared it, for today's exploration that we'll do tomorrow is the Thrive Journal. And this journal is a journal that I created several years ago. Some of you have it. It is a beautiful tool to help you stay rooted in what matters most and what fills you, and be intentional about that, about paying attention to it. And so it's not dated. So you can pick it up at any time. There are monthly pages. Mine's written in, but here you go. There's a place each month, if you can read my writing, better for you, to center in, to notice what's working. There's a place each month. It's a grid for the calendar to kind of pay attention to what you're noticing. And then there are blank pages that I fill. And then each week there's space for a brain dump. And, you can't see because it's full. Let's see. There are weekly pages that allow you to set an intention and then focus on what matters most.